Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Donald Clark. It's good to be back. I hope all is well. Let's see, it's been a few weeks, and I don't know about everybody, but I can feel fall creeping in a little bit. It's the angle of the light is a little lower, and it's getting chilly at night up here in central New York. I know it's still awfully hot everywhere else in the country, and I hope it breaks for you soon. So, welcome. So today I'm kind of going to go back a little bit to I was going to title this Fertility 101, but we're going to talk a little bit about just the basics of fertility. I see patients throughout the week, and I ask them, what are some of the things that you've learned from the Facebook Live videos? And what are some of the things that you would like to learn? And everyone seems to kind of come back to that same basic protocols, basic understanding of what to expect during a fertility cycle with acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So I'm just going to kind of go back a little bit and kind of do the rundown on what to expect and what you need to do. So one thing that kind of took me by surprise today is that I was talking to a woman, and she was saying that she had her initial consultation with fertility, and she was so excited about it, as she should have been. But she was so excited about it, she jumped right in and started a cycle immediately. And it wasn't the best cycle for her, and she ended up, repeating a cycle. But she had wished that she had waited a little bit, just a smidgen longer, to invest a little bit into her health, to try to prep her body, prep her nest for the retrieval process. And she found once that she took some time for herself, and once she invested into her fertility health a little bit, her next cycle was much more beneficial, but much better, with a much better outcome. So, I encourage people, to temper their enthusiasm just a smidgen. It's okay to be super pumped and stoked about your cycle, but just take a break, step back, and look at your overall health at the time, and maybe possibly think of some of the things that you could do to better tune yourself for your upcoming IVF, IUI cycle retrieval process. Those are words of wisdom. Those are only words of wisdom that can come from somebody who's actually gone through the process and who knows what it is to go through the process and the retrieval process and what's involved in that. And it was pure knowledge, pure information that you really can't get somewhere else from a book or something like that. It's coming from the source. So just gonna step back a little bit and kind of just get everybody, revisit some of the things that we've talked about in the past, and you know, just trying to put it out there again. So when you are preparing for a retrieval cycle or IVF, I do encourage people to start ahead of the process. So a lot of times we'll get patients that come in on their baseline appointments, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to have a retrieval process and embryo transfer in the near future, and I'd like to start preparing my body, which is awesome. It's 100% awesome if you do that. That's the majority of people, and we have great success with that. But what I want to see is I want to see more people come in or to their acupuncturist leading up to the actual IVF process. And what that does is it stabilizes your hormones a bit more, so that I think the meds are able to correctly adjust as to where they need to be, because your hormones levels are stable to begin with and they're not fluctuating. It keeps your stress levels down, right? So it takes out all those cortisols and adrenalines and kind of brings you back to a calming place. And it prepares the nest, right? It prepares the nest, your uterus, and in your ovaries. It prepares the nest, and it prepares your mind and your spirit and your well-being as well. Also prepares the sperm health, right? We cannot forget about the sperm in this process. So, and we've talked about this in the past, it takes a little longer for sperm to mature and become viable. So, men need to start thinking about it, 3 months ahead of the actual process. So, men definitely need to prepare ahead of time. So keep that in mind. So when you think you're going to start IVF, or you've had your initial consultation, and yes, IVF is the best step for you, or IUI is the best steps for you, then consider what it is I can do. And so we'll start right off with lifestyle, right? Slow down, right? Don't work 1,000,000 hours. It's not a good time for overtime. I understand, everyone's jobs are demanding and important, right? We're all important people. But when it comes to family planning, invest in your health, invest in your family. And because at the end of the day, your career is an amazing thing, but at the end of the day, your family is more important. So, your future family is also equally as important. So slow down. Try not to work 100 hours. I don't encourage exercise, right? Don't, no training, no weightlifting, no aerobic exercises. Gentle yoga, going for walks, going for hikes, not summiting with a backpack, but going for a hike in nature, yoga, even some gentle Pilates, some Tai Chi. But no cardio, right? No spin, no weights, no kickbox class, right? Slow down. What that's going to do is going to signal to your body that there isn't repeated stress on the body, the repeated motion that's triggering the fight or flight hormones, right? If you're constantly stressing your bodies and stressing your muscles, and they're getting flexed, and you're high cardio, high impact, it's just sending all the wrong messages to the body. It's not really a conducive environment for fertility and egg production. That being said, you can still do it. I'm trying to create the best environment possible, and so keep that in mind. Diet, right? Diet's important. Move into a higher fat, higher meats diet. Stay away from the inflammation-causing foods, right? Stay away from all the starchy vegetables and the carbs, right? And we want to try to dry the inside out, right? A lot of sugars and carbs in Chinese medicine create a lot of mucus and moisture and inflammation, and all that's horrible for your health, especially for your fertility health. So move into a more high-fat, carno-type diet. And that's going to decrease your inflammation substantially. And, this time of year when it's so hot, people don't really like to eat a lot anyways. And you shouldn't be, right? We're already stressed out from the intense heat, and our bodies are maintaining a homeostasis temperature barely, right? But we have to work harder, right? Because it's so hot and the barometric pressure is so low, I guess, right? Because of all the humidity and storms. So, we have to work harder to stay healthier. So, try to decrease your caloric intake. I used to think eating more was better, but it's not the case. Eating less is better because it keeps you healthier. It allows your system to take a break from all the processing. And if you're eating a higher fat diet, a higher meat diet, and eating less, your body runs better. It's like running diesel engine through a regular gasoline engine. It doesn't work so good. But if you run crisp, clean fuel through your engine, you're gonna be at peak performance. So try to change your diet a little bit. Now, this is such a really good opportunity in the months leading up to an IVF cycle to really take control of your health, right? So in your mental well-being. So this is when, like I was saying, we pull back, we don't work so much. But also this is when you start acupuncture. This is when you start your personal health treatments, be it massage or yoga or meditation. This is when we dial it all down. Because if you can dial it down and increase your energy, your chi, and decrease the blockages. Your hormone levels will balance off. Your sperm levels and your semen levels come back, and so you're at a much better state in your health. And so this is when you do all of your acupuncture. So go visit your acupuncturist. I wish it was free. I wish it was so cheap that it was so affordable that you could go twice a week. And some people, it's not a problem, but for others, it is a problem. So I only ask that you do what you can and what you can comfortably. So go visit your acupuncturist, go visit your massage therapist, start yoga, start meditation, learn how to meditate a little bit more. What that's going to do is it's just going to bring your hormone levels to a balanced state, and you're going to feel better. Spiritually, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel healthier. And then when you start the IVF, also let me just say, maybe you'll get pregnant, right? Maybe if we take away all of the stuff that's clogging our brains and interfering with our lives and making us burn out, if you take all that away and your hormone levels balance out, maybe you'll get pregnant if you are able to get pregnant on your own. That's a possibility, and why wouldn't you explore it if you had the chance? So if as compared to just jumping right in, step back, explore it a little bit if you can, if you have time, if you are able to. Some people can't. Some people have to start right away, and I understand that. And that's wonderful. But if you have the opportunity to take back it a little bit, then take it back and slow down. So yeah, that's your opportunity. And then once you get back into your cycle, and then you start stimming, ideally, hopefully, and I've seen it time and time again. If you take breaks in between cycles, you stim better. So hopefully you stim better, and you can navigate the retrieval process and the embryo transfer process or IUI process much easier. And so it doesn't have to be such a stress on your body or your mind or your family. Let's not forget about the family. They're all going through it as well. So it's hard. It's a tough process. It can be easy, but it can also be very hard on the body, especially the belly. It can affect your bowels. If you get hyperstimulated, that's a problem that needs to be addressed immediately. So take back the time. Pause, curb your enthusiasm just a smidgen, and try to take advantage of the time that you have, and invest in your fertility health a little bit, as much as you can, comfortably, of course. And I never want anyone to extend themselves. I also don't recommend that people travel, more than 30, 40 minutes to an acupuncturist. If you have to travel a great distance to receive treatments, it kind of defeats the purpose in that you're stressing on getting there, you're stressing on getting back, and all of that, what's involved. So, shop locally, right? Go to your local acupuncturist. If they're a practicing acupuncturist, they're highly trained, and they are, they're very aware of what's happening in the fertility world because it's so dominant now in the population. It's rare to find an acupuncturist who is unaware of what IVF is and how to treat it. Now, if it helps and you have this ability, you can also contact your local OBGYN clinic or your local IVF center or clinic or physician, and chances are they will have a referral for an acupuncturist for you, and that's an easy way to get into contact with somebody who knows all about IVF. So keep that in mind too, and slow down, eat well, take advantage of time. We don't have a lot. We often lose our power as patients in the medical world. Hold on to that power. You know how your body reacts, and you know how you're going to stim. So try to build on that. Try to give your body some time to prepare for that. Yes, acupuncture, massage, yoga, all of that, and I think you'll be happy with that. I do. I see there's some questions. I just want to see if I can answer them comfortably, of course. So there's a question. The question is, how many times do you recommend acupuncture a week? Ideally, you'll do it to where ideally you'll go to acupuncture as much as you want to, where it's comfortable. I recommend once a week. I'm happy with once a week. I'm content with once a week. Now, if you find that you're not stimming like you should be stimming, and we have to adjust your medications or postpone or whatnot, then twice a week is very doable, very acceptable. Because what we're going to do is we're going to try to prevent we're going to try to increase the stim. We're going to try to help your body adjust hormone level to that, so that they can balance the meds like they need to. So if there's problems with the cycle, then maybe twice a week. If everything's great and you're stimming well and you're feeling wonderful, once a week is fine. When they start looking at your endometrial lining and your lining is building like it should, once a week. If your lining is slow and it's not building like it should, twice a week. And make sure that one thing we see in fertility in Chinese medicine a lot is blood deficiency. And blood deficiency in Chinese medicine doesn't correlate to a blood deficiency in Western medicine. Totally different. We're talking about energetically. And so if in Chinese medicine, if your blood deficiency is there, and you have some weakness in the strength of the blood, hopefully it'll correct itself with a high carno, high meat, red meat diet. You're getting lots of iron, right? If you have a history of anemia or blood deficiency, you have to pay extra attention to that, because anemia and blood deficiency can really slow a cycle, especially when it comes to endometrial lining. So if you have any history of anemia or blood deficiency, then you need to supplement with a high iron diet, as well as have acupuncture a little bit more often. So that's one thing that can cause you to have acupuncture a little bit more is blood deficiency. It's very common. It's very treatable. However, if you're dealing with anemia and you've had blood transfusions in the past, then you need to address that accordingly. I'm glad that you had a wonderful experience with acupuncture. I would say 90% of all patients fall asleep, and that says something. If a patient can come in for acupuncture and they end up falling asleep, it just goes to show you that it's so powerful that it can shift the brain wavelengths. And that's what it does, and that's what it's been proven to do. It'll take an awake pattern brain that's very rapid in problem solving, and it moves it into a sleep pattern brain. So your brain goes to sleep, and then your body says, okay, well, the brain's telling the body to go to sleep. And so then your body gets super duper relaxed. You get more dilation, you get more oxygenation, you get better circulation when you're that deeply relaxed. And it is very earthy. And that's the biggest component of stress reduction, is one of the biggest side effects of acupuncture, be it for fertility or something else, is stress reduction, because it truly can change the wavelengths of the brain to a much slower, relaxed brain pattern. And so most people fall asleep. And most people have a very positive experience. Not everybody. I mean, when you get to the point where you're done with needles, right? There's a lot of injections with fertility treatments, and not everybody is enjoying having acupuncture anymore, because it's more essentially injections, even though it's not an injection. But it's needles and it's the body. Enough is enough. So some people just don't want it, and I can appreciate that 100%. But most people do fall asleep, and it is very, very relaxing. The only way I can explain it or describe it is that it's very earthy. So keep that in mind. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. If you need anything, text me or call me, and we can set up a consultation. Find your local acupuncturist, find your local yoga center, find your local resources. Take care.